Dan O'Donnell Show, and have we got a good one for you. Strangest stories of the past 7 days. How bizarre, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll get you caught up on everything going on at the Trump White House in our daily Trump date in the 4 o'clock hour. We name the unhinged liberal of the day coming up later on this hour. Let me tell you, friend, no matter what you were doing last night, I hope you were on social media. Normally, I don't say that, but last night might have been one of the most enjoyable evenings on social media in quite some time. I was coaching baseball and then caught up with my brother and one of my very good friends afterwards for dinner, but I couldn't tear my eyes off of, yes, the CEO and the HR director's affair and all of the glorious memes that came out of that. But last night, we had Stephen Colbert's show get canceled at about the same time that federal funding for NPR and public television was cut. And let me tell you, the freakout was incredible. Not only that, we apparently have President Trump writing haikus to Jeffrey Epstein, according to the Wall Street Journal, in what just might be the fakest story in a decade full of fake news aimed at taking this guy out. We'll get to all of that coming up in just a minute. Plus, just within the last hour, bombshell revelations by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, about a real criminal conspiracy. It was hinted at all week. DNI Gabbard just declassified thousands of pages of documents related to the Russiagate scandal of 2016. And it turns out President Obama was far more deeply involved in this than previously thought. Yes, James Clapper, Gabbard's predecessor as Director of National Intelligence, one of her predecessors. Yes, John Brennan of the CIA. Yes, James Comey, the director of the FBI. But this literally did go all the way up to the Oval Office, and we'll go through the timeline based on those new documents in just a second. First, though, sizzling summer cash contest time. Word this hour. Check, CHECK, check. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website, enter the keyword check, enter the contest for this hour for a chance at $1,000 in cash instantly. Your entry is picked at random. We will contact you probably by about 4:15 Central Time. It's a phone call. Please do take off that setting on your iPhone if you have it, where automatically phone calls of people not in your contacts go to voicemail, because it very well could be us telling you you've won $1,000. You want to join the Dan O'Donnell Show? 414-799-1130. That is our adventknows.com talk and text line. Reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476, at Dan O'Donnell Show, across social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, and our YouTube channel, where we are streaming live. About an hour ago, at the official DNI Gabbard X account, Tulsi wrote, "For months preceding the 2016 election, the intelligence community shared a consensus view. Russia lacked the intent and capability to hack U.S. elections. But weeks after President Trump's historic 2016 victory defeating Hillary Clinton, all that changed." On August 31st, a DHS, Department of Homeland Security official, wrote to the DNI, James Clapper, "We are working with CIA on a PDB submission on the threat. The thrust of the analysis is that there is no indication of a Russian threat to directly manipulate the actual vote count through cyber means." September 9th, the lead author of this PDB: "We agree with the assessment that Russia probably is not and will not try to influence the election by using cyber means to manipulate computer-enabled election infrastructure." Then on December 7th, and this is critical, Clapper got the following talking points. We assess that foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election outcome this year. We have no evidence of cyber manipulation of election infrastructure intended to alter results. Within just a couple of days, all that would change, apparently at the direction of the president himself, Barack Obama. Now, you might remember Obama was talking about President Trump, then candidate Trump, refusing to accept the results of the election that hadn't even been held yet. Do you remember he was talking about the possibility that the election might be rigged? Everyone at this point in the run-up to the 2016 election just assumed Trump was going to lose, and he was going to use, in his words, bigly. He, of course, didn't. The rest was history. But in one of the debates with Hillary Clinton, both candidates were asked if they would accept the results of the election. President Trump said he would, but he'd have to take a look to make sure nothing was rigged. Hillary, of course, responded by saying that's horrifying. And the following day, Obama came out in a press conference and said, how do you even rig an election? By December, all that changed. So Clapper comes out on December 7th, 2016, and says there is no indication that Russia manipulated the election through cyber means. Remember, one of the conspiracies that came out of, one of the theories that came out of the 2016 election was that Russia was actually changing votes, that they, quote, hacked the election. On December 7th, Clapper comes out with talking points prepared for him and says, no, we have no evidence that that happened. The following day, intelligence community officials, according to Gabbard, prepared an assessment for the president's daily briefing. The thrust of their findings were this: Russia, quote, did not impact recent U.S. election results by conducting cyber attacks on infrastructure. Before those talking points and before that could enter into the president's daily briefing, it was abruptly pulled, quote, based on new guidance. The deputy director of the PDB writes based on some new guidance, we are going to push back publication of the PDB. It will not run tomorrow and is not likely to run until next week. PDB President's Daily Brief. Why would that be? Very next day, top national security officials, including the director of the FBI, James Comey, director of the CIA, John Brennan, director of national intelligence, James Clapper, all gather at the White House along with President Obama. Topic of conversation, Russia. Obama directed those three men to create a new intelligence assessment that detailed Russian election meddling, even though it would contradict multiple intelligence assessments released over the previous several months. The documents could not possibly be more damning. They show the direct involvement of the President of the United States in creating what we know now to be a completely false narrative, but critically, what was known then to be a completely false narrative. The new documents show that the talking points were out, that the president's daily briefing was set to say, okay, we're going to put all of this nonsense to rest. There was no Russian interference, but then President Obama himself apparently says, no. We're going to do a brand new assessment that shows Russia was the critical factor in this election. Here is the email to all of them. The IC, intelligence community, is prepared to produce an assessment per the president's request. that pulls together the information we have on the tools Moscow used and the actions it took to influence the 2016 election. An explanation of why Moscow directed these activities and how Moscow's approach has changed over time, going back to 2008 and 2012 as reference points. ODNI, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, will lead the effort with participation from CIA, FBI, NSA, and DHS. Do you see where this is going? Although it was widely disseminated that there was no chance, that elections were secure. And for those who were not following politics before the 2016 election, that was the narrative forever. Elections could not be hacked. Elections could not possibly be rigged. In 2020, we went right back to that narrative, but for a brief period from about, I'd say December 9th, December 10th, 2016, to the exact moment when the Mueller report was released in the spring of 2019, it was Katie bar the door with any conspiracy theory involving Russia that you could possibly come up with, and how they installed President Trump as their Manchurian candidate to do Vladimir Putin's bidding. This appears to be a smoking gun that, based on all of the other information that we have, was that Barack Obama himself was the one requesting all of this to take place. Now, we knew that there was a meeting right before the end of Obama's term. In fact, at the very last moments of Obama's term, we know that you had Valerie Jarrett, that you had other top aides sending out emails basically saying, we are going to handle this investigation by the book. Obama, you might recall, in this final meeting in January of 17, said, we're going to handle this by the book. He was stressing, we're going to handle it by the book, going to handle it by the book. Well, why do you stress that unless there's a very strong likelihood it's not going to be handled by the book? It takes a little while for this new assessment of Russian threats to be created. Almost a month, January 6th, 2017, according to Gabbard, just days before President Trump took office, DNI Clapper unveiled the Obama-directed politicized assessment, a gross weaponization of intelligence that laid the groundwork for a years-long coup intended to subvert President Trump's entire presidency. According to whistleblower emails shared with us today, we know Clapper and Brennan used the baseless, discredited Steele dossier as a source to push this false narrative in the intelligence assessment. In relevant part, the email reads, Shelby believes this should be responded to by the NIC, National Intelligence Community, as the dossier was a factor in the 2017 ICA Intelligence Community Assessment on the election interference, in which an assessment of the document was added as an annex. Meaning, for years, they were saying, no, we did not use the dossier. We know instantly. Remember the Steele dossier with Donald Trump doing all manner of unholy things with women of the evening in a Moscow hotel room. No, they said forever. We knew that this was just a campaign hit piece. It was opposition research. It was not vetted. We knew Steele, the guy who compiled it, to be sort of full of it. We didn't use this to try to get, wiretaps of Carter Page, a Trump campaign figure. They, of course, did. But they were also saying, well, we never used this as the basis of an investigation. You might recall that Comey, actually in the days after this assessment came out, called for a meeting with President Trump. He actually went to Trump Tower, where Trump was conducting all of his transition meetings and that sort of thing. And he presented the dossier to Trump. And he used it as an example of some of the false information. He said, Mr. President, we really need you to read these daily briefings. We really need you to work with us, because this is the sort of stuff that we get all the time. And we know this is false. Well, the real reason that Comey presented presented that to Trump was to give BuzzFeed or any other news organization that had possession of the dossier a reason to publish it. For months, this dossier was being shopped around. In fact, I can remember various left-wingers gleefully reporting on it. They were on Twitter, as it was known at the time. They were saying, they were making reference to the thing. Do you know who Rick Wilson is? He's a former Jeb Bush acolyte. I believe he helped run the Romney campaign. He's one of these Lincoln Project guys. He was all about, he loved having this knowledge of quote unquote the thing. And he was saying, oh, maybe the thing is going to be, that was the dossier. Nobody wanted to publish it because it was so salacious and it was so ridiculous. Trump is about the best known germaphobe in the world, this side of Howie Mandel. You're telling me he's letting prostitutes do what on a bed just because Barack and Michelle slept there? Give me a break. There is no way he's within a country mile of that sort of thing. But once it was presented to Trump, the conspiracy was well underway. It wasn't about getting Trump to be removed from office because there was smoking gun proof he was a Russian asset. They all knew there was none. The idea was to selectively leak all of this stuff, to launch an investigation for the sole purpose of leaking information to the press in order to build the public opinion that Trump was a Russian asset. As Gabbard concludes, these documents detail a treasonous conspiracy by officials at the highest levels of the Obama White House to subvert the will of the American people and try to usurp the president from fulfilling his mandate. This concerns every American. The integrity of our democratic republic demands that every person involved be investigated and brought to justice to prevent this from ever happening again. I am providing all documents to the Department of Justice to deliver the accountability that President Trump, his family, and the American people deserve. That Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, on newly declassified documents that show just how the Russia conspiracy began. Notice I didn't say conspiracy theory. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what a criminal conspiracy looks like. This was always the biggest thing going on behind the scenes throughout the entire first Trump term. And the weaponization of government, of law enforcement, of the intelligence community, of all of it, of the awesome power of the state in this country against one man, to stop that man from, forget about running for president, forget about winning the presidency, from ever setting foot in free society again. When the Russia conspiracy failed, you might remember it was just 2 months later, in July of 2017, where the infamous Zelensky phone call took place. What do we know now about that phone call? Yeah, there actually was actionable corruption involving the vice president of the United States and his son Hunter with the previous Ukrainian government and a company called Burisma. That led to the first impeachment. There was a second impeachment after Trump had already left office. As if that wasn't enough, within just a couple of weeks after him leaving office, the potential criminal charges were set in motion. The investigation started. In early 2023, he faces not one criminal case, not two, not three, but four, two coming from the very intelligence and law enforcement communities that these same people are effectively running under the Biden regime. It's taken a while, and the wheels of justice sometimes do move slowly. But this, I think, will go down as an important first step in ensuring that they do turn. So naturally, what is everyone focused on today? That's right, Jeffrey Epstein again.
iHeart Radio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
Escape to poolside paradise at MGM Resorts in Las Vegas. Sip on a refreshing cocktail. Lounge in a luxury cabana. Earn on nonstop fun with MGM Rewards. Book a sizzling summer escape today. Visit MGMRewards.com for details.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/policy. That's ethos.com/policy.
Dan here. It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management alongside the CEO of Annex, Dave Spano. And this week, we're still dealing with uncertainty in the markets. The uncertainty of tax policy has been alleviated by the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill and the signing of it on July 4th. But looking ahead, there's still, Dave, a whole lot of uncertainty when it comes to President Trump's tariffs.
Yeah, there really has. Look where we've been in the last 90 days, shifting the trade responsibility from Navarro to Percent. And then they cut tariffs from $670 billion down to $270. Reciprocal tariffs were delayed and on. And the market just continues to go down the train tracks, taking it in stride. And so we'll see what happens come August 1st. But the other thing that you did point out, which is absolutely true, is that the big, beautiful bill is passed, and now we're starting to see that people will have more money in their pockets, from a higher standard deduction to enhanced deductions for seniors, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. All of this means that there's some planning opportunities. And we also have a webinar planned for our business owners coming up on Thursday, the 17th. We're going to talk about ideas for tax, estate, and retirement planning. So listen in, and we'll have an opportunity to have that. That's Thursday the 17th, the One Big Beautiful Bill, what business owners need to know. Register now at events.annexwealth.com.
Whether or not you're on the webinar, and you definitely should be, you need to be planning for your businesses, your families, your loved ones' financial future. That is, after all, why we do all of this, to provide for those we care about. You need to head to annexwealth.com to get a review of your portfolio, to know what you own and why you own it. For Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
For superior carpet cleaning, hire a company with over 75 years of experience that will get the job done right the first time. Always clean, always on time. Edelman.
Edelman Carpet, Furniture, and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
Bob from Redefined Realty here. I'd written my own ads for 20 years.
Creative genius. Here. Same. Well, Inet's ads and 100 other businesses' ads.
Writing your own ads, you kind of get stuck repeating the same message. Different words, but the same perspective.
Before introducing Easy Home Bidder, Bob came to Inet to brand his brainchild, MLS Listing Backed by Auction. It's brilliant. MLS guarantees the home is found. Auction guarantees the highest sale price. Period.
Inet branded it, wrote our story, knocked our marketing out of the park. When you think of selling your home, you know MLS and auction together is the right choice.
Redefined also benefits from unparalleled radio buying power, industry influence, and extracurricular enhancement of being part of the Inet community. More than 1,000 businesses working together for each other's successes.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. Inet is improving the economy one business at a time.
InetDishWeb.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Buyers, sellers, real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeart Radio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Liars, cheats, Democratic politicians, liberal media types. Instead, listen to this.
It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Brand new evidence released by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, finds pretty conclusively that it was President Barack Obama who was ordering the Director of National Intelligence at the time, James Clapper, to contradict every finding of the intelligence community leading up to the November 2016 election, that Russia did not attempt or was not able to subvert the 2016 election by cyber means. However, just 2 days after, talking points were prepared for Clapper on December 7th, 2016, saying foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election. 2 days later, December 9th, President Obama gathers Clapper, John Brennan, the director of national intelligence. Brennan was the CIA director, Susan Rice, his national security advisor, John Kerry, Secretary of State, Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General, Andrew McCabe of the FBI, to discuss Russia. Clapper's executive assistant then sent an email following this meeting, tasking them with creating a brand new assessment, quote, per the president's request, that details the, quote, tools Moscow used and actions it took to influence the 2016 election, end quote. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence will, quote, lead this effort with participation from CIA, FBI, NSA, and DHS. January 6th of 2017, they get that new intelligence community assessment released. It directly contradicted every single intelligence community assessment about the Russian threat that was made throughout the previous 6 months. Why? The reason was obvious. They now had something that they could use to try to destroy the Trump presidency. The ultimate goal was to get him to be impeached by convincing enough of his Republican allies that he was a Russian asset, or that Russian President Vladimir Putin had compromising information on him, was blackmailing him, that he was colluding with Russia in some way. Remember, we heard the word collusion from 2017 through about 2019 more than at any point in American history. Collusion, collusion, collusion. Everybody saw evidence of the Trump team working with the Russians. Even though the guy who was running lead on the investigation at the time for the FBI was secretly texting his FBI lawyer girlfriend saying, yeah, I just don't see that there's any there. She had asked him if he was going to jump ship and work on the new Robert Mueller special prosecutor investigation. He said, yeah, I don't see that there's any there. He had been investigating this since July of 2016. If he didn't see any evidence that Russia and Trump were colluding to try to do whatever they were going to do and win the election for Trump, nobody would have had evidence of that. And sure enough, spring of 2019, the Mueller report comes out and shows not only did no Americans collude with Russia, no Americans knew anything about what Russia was doing. And do you know what Russia ended up doing? What they actually did conclude? Yes, Russia was trying to influence the 2016 election. They were doing the exact same stuff that our intelligence community does as well. They were trying to sow the seeds of discontent amongst the American people. We've been doing the exact same thing with our foreign adversaries forever. It's sort of a CIA hallmark. One of the big successes that the Russians had, because the extent of their involvement in the 2016 election was buying Facebook ads designed to stir up conservatives and get them mad at liberals and liberals mad at conservatives. One of their big successes was a big protest the Saturday after the November 2016 election in New York City. Do you know who it targeted? A bunch of libs who were ticked off that President Trump won. That protest that they had was organized by the Russian hacking operation. That's the extent of it. No Americans knew what was going on. Mueller report conclusively proved that. And did you notice how nobody in left-wing media, nobody in any position of power ever mentioned Russia again? Sure, there are still some of the cringe boomer libs who can't let go of the idea that Trump is somehow a Russian asset. But nobody who's at all serious or should be taken seriously has brought up Russiagate in 6 years. It's because they know and always did know it was bunk. But now we need to get to the bottom of why it is the former president is ordering his national intelligence community to try to gin up any sort of finding that could convince members of Congress, members of the Senate, to impeach and then convict a president in the court of public opinion, because there was no chance a court of law or any sort of actual actionable evidence had shown that he had done a single thing wrong. Now, of course, nobody wants to talk about this, and in fairness, it is just breaking. DNI Gabbard just put out the press release and just put out the findings of this new investigation on X. She did refer this to the Justice Department for possible criminal charges, something that we had heard was possible earlier in the week against Clapper, against Comey, against John Brennan. This, I think, is why liberals have so desperately seized on the Jeffrey Epstein files. And as we'll hear either in the next segment or after the top of the hour in the Daily Trump Date, they're all saying the same thing now. Now we have the narrative that Trump is in the Epstein files because why else would he try so hard to prevent their release? Meanwhile, Trump is saying, release all the depositions. Release all of the testimony, release all of the grand jury materials, release it all. He's actually the second person who is implicated in the Epstein files to say, look, release it all. We none of us have anything to hide. Kevin Spacey came out a couple of days ago and said, look, this is destroying my reputation. Release it all because I know I have nothing to hide. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We're going to step aside for a very quick break. Have no fear. We'll be back before you know it. Stay tuned.
Water running back to your foundation due to settling concrete can lead to extremely expensive foundation repairs, even mold and bacteria in your home.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
Puts existing concrete back to grade, keeping water away from your foundation for a fraction of patio or driveway replacement cost.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
For a free estimate today.
MudTech, 262-337-0934.
Permanently fixes asphalt with state-of-the-art technology. Uneven sagging stairs and walkways are easily evened out for less than you are guessing with M to the U to the D to the T to the E to the C to the H.
262-337-0934.
The cost of having southeastern Wisconsin's premier concrete releveling and asphalt repair technicians at MudTech.
262-337-0934.
Restore your paved surfaces today is a fraction of the cost of replacement tomorrow. Call right now.
262-337-0934.
MudTechWorks.com.
Dan O'Donnell here for my good friends at Mander Collision and Glass, the only place I've trusted my vehicles with for years now. Their customer service is impeccable and their workmanship is so good, they guarantee it for life. But don't just take my word for it. Here's a 5-star review from Alana. Mander was amazing. From Noel at the front desk to Nikki, who helped coordinate my insurance and repairs, I could not have had a better experience. My 2021 Subaru Forester looks brand new. I honestly don't think I've had this great of a customer service experience in my life. I'll refer anyone and everyone to Mander if they ever find themselves in a bind. Thank you so much. No, thank you, Alana, for helping me spread the word about just how great Mander is. Wherever you are in the greater Milwaukee and Waukesha area, there's a service center near you. So start your repair now at mandercollision.com.
Ever wonder about solar energy? Nick the construction crew here. Tune in this week when my guest will be Adam from What's Up Engineering. We'll be solving all the pieces of the puzzle for solar. Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Right now is the best time ever to buy a vehicle, and the Russ Darrow Group is leading the way. Don't wait for prices to rise. Get the best value and selection before they're gone. Drive today, save tomorrow. Visit russdarrow.com now.
Put a smile on their face at a family place. Elmbrook Family Dental.
This is Dr. Brandon Brunner and Dr. Eric Teibel from Elmbrook Family Dental.
Okay, Eric, there are a lot of things that set us apart. What do you want to start with?
I'd say Invisalign.
Yeah, I mean, is there anyone offering Invisalign for less?
No, in fact, we just saw a patient quoted about $3,000 more for the same treatment. I'm really confident that our Invisalign price is the lowest in southeastern Wisconsin.
And a lot of older patients who wish they have gotten braces back when they were younger, they're choosing Invisalign.
It works. And the lowest Invisalign price, along with the 5-star review quality of care that we're known for, works for our patients.
Elmbrook Family Dental with 2 locations in Brookfield and now in Wauwatosa.
Put a smile on their face at a family place. Elmbrook Family Dental.
Because a great smile goes a long way.
Real feedback from Brookfield and Mequon's Reset Restore MD patient.
My daughter's intravenous ketamine treatments made a significant difference in just 2 weeks.
R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com.
There are only a handful of carpet cleaning companies in the country who guarantee results, and we're one of them. It's no wonder why we're Wisconsin's most trusted carpet cleaner.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
Great service is always a go-to for all your car troubles. That's from Carrie, a longtime customer at Engine and Transmission Exchange. And when it comes to auto repairs, that's what it boils down to. I've endorsed ETE for many years now without hesitation based on my personal experiences and yours. Diana says, I went to ETE with what I thought was a very expensive problem. They were knowledgeable and honest, and it turned out to be a more reasonable fix. I couldn't be happier. Honesty comes up a lot in listener reviews of Engine and Transmission Exchange. Yes, Vince over at ETE employs an established, experienced group of people who can service any vehicle, any make, any model. They'll accurately diagnose your problem and will always work to save you money while doing the repair right. Steve actually lives in Union Grove, but says, I've been going to ETE on South 27th Street for many years, and I'll keep going back because these guys are honest, get it done quickly, and do it right. Take it to ETE. See enginetrans.com for details. Enginetrans.com. It's Engine and Transmission Exchange.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Get into summer with iHeart80s. Rewind to a decade in music that defined a generation. From Madonna to Michael. And more. iHeart80s goes commercial free this weekend and every weekend. Open the free iHeart app, search iHeart80s, and make it your next preset.
iHeartRadio.
Marketing in modern business means finding and serving your customers 24/7 wherever they are. WISN broadcasts are a powerful platform, but there's so much more. WISN's online digital tools are completely customizable, so you can reach your ideal customer through the iHeart app or by using software that actually finds your customers at a specific location or event. These tools are precise, efficient, measurable marketing weapons that you need to use. Combine the power and clout of WISN's broadcast and digital platforms right now. Go to newstalk1130.com, keyword digital.
Got a lot to get to in the next next hour, from defunding PBS and National Public Radio to the abrupt cancellation of the Stephen Colbert Show to the controversy and scandal that Democrats just can't get enough of. No, it has nothing to do with the fact that the entire intelligence apparatus, at the direction of a president of the United States, was cooking up false intelligence in order to end the presidency of the guy who succeeded him. No, that's not juicy enough. It's that Donald Trump was writing weird, creepy poetry and drawing nudie pictures of women to give to Jeffrey Epstein. The Wall Street Journal, in an era where fake news is rampant, just may have put out the fakest news I think I have ever seen in my life. Now, it is absolutely hysterical what they have President Trump typing, not writing, typing. The story. Jeffrey Epstein's friends sent him bawdy letters for a 50th birthday album. One was from Donald Trump. Now, if you think of Trump writing a bawdy letter to somebody, you can almost picture it in your head with Trump's voice, right? I assume there would be something about Iraq, possibly a caboose. The president, especially back then, back before he was president or even a candidate, he had a, shall we say, ribald sense of humor. He was also very well known for doing what? I'll give you a hint. He just sent one to the director of the Federal Reserve, a handwritten note, right? He's well known for doing that. He supposedly typed up a letter that said the following. Okay, now this is Donald J. Trump to Jeffrey Epstein. Voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything. Donald. Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey. Nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald. We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey. Yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey. As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Donald. A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. In a million years, could you ever see Donald John Trump thinking that, let alone writing it? First of all, if I may say, it sounds super gay, okay? It sounds like something you write to a lover. The implication that I took away from that letter was that the secret that they share, the enigma, was that they're stooping each other. As hilarious as the idea might at its first glance seem, Trump may be a lot of things. Don't think he's having illicit gay affairs with Jeffrey Epstein or anyone else. I'm just putting that out there right now. How many of you have read The Art of the Deal? I actually did. It's a very good book. I mean, mostly ghost written, but it was ghost written in Trump's voice. You can have, I don't even know if he read the book on tape. It was released in like 87. And I read it about a decade ago, at least most of it, when he was running for president. And you can tell this is coming from Donald Trump. This sounds like it's coming from some effete, bougie boomer lib. I don't even, and not only does the Wall Street Journal refuse to publish the original text, they're not letting anybody see it. Do you know what this smacks of? The 60 Minutes 2 scandal that led to the resignation of Dan Rather over the fake Air National Guard documents that they ran with, even though they were obvious forgeries that showed George W. Bush, when he was in the Texas Air National Guard, he was ducking out of service. Total forgeries. They were proven to be forgeries almost instantly after they aired on 60 Minutes 2 on CBS. The Wall Street Journal doesn't seem to be giving any internet sleuth the opportunity, because how quickly do you think some rando on the internet would prove, hey, this is totally wrong. This type of typewriter, this typeface wasn't even around in 2003. This was obviously done on Microsoft Word or something. The fact that a paper like the Wall Street Journal would run something like this that obviously was not particularly well vetted is rather shocking. I'd expect it from NBC News. I'd expect it from the New York Times. But the Wall Street Journal, a Rupert Murdoch paper? Looks like there's about to be another several $100 million donation to the Trump Presidential Library coming up very shortly. We name the unhinged liberal of the day coming up next.
From the Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend Total Traffic Center.
Still heavy through Waukesha County, eastbound 94 from Highway SS to 16 with crash cleanup on the right. Then you're slow from 76 to 27th. Westbound delays are building from 35th to Mitchell. I'm Mike Priest, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Terminix Batzner. Wake up every morning in a pest-free home with Batzner Pest Control's Pest-Free 365 service. Their year-round preventative pest control program. To learn more and to save $50 off your initial pest service, visit Batzner.com today.
I'm Victor Harding, a true trial attorney at Warshevsky Law. You've heard our advertising for years. While it's been effective introducing Warshevsky to injured people in need of maximum judgment from former clients grateful for the settlement or trial judgment Warshevsky won on their behalf. Thus, they're recommending us to friends and family. Referrals from including lawyers and judges who want to make sure their friends and family are taken care of. Still not sure? Ask around. Warshevsky is referred by Wisconsin law enforcement who've seen Warshevsky attorneys in action, desperate to make sure friends and family receive just compensation. Insurance adjusters, often our adversaries, refer their family members hurt in accidents. They know the work we do. They all refer Warshevsky because big case or small, we can help. If someone you love is injured, please let them know, because at the end of their ordeal, their injury is about the money. Warshevsky.com.
Homeowners across Wisconsin trust WeatherPro Exteriors for the best in roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Voted Milwaukee's 2024 top choice. We are proud to deliver the highest quality and service. Right now, get $1,000 off a full roof replacement, plus a $200 Quick Trip gift card. Your home is your biggest investment. Make sure it's protected with top quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors built to last. Visit weatherproexteriors.com today.
Academic Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
Don't settle for a flimsy bank pre-approval. Get the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as better than the rest. The rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet. Get yours by clicking on the blue button at accunet.com.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve with Divergent Family Law, here to talk about facts and myths about divorce. Do you think as long as you play nice, so will your spouse? That's a myth. Many divorces start that way, but before you know it, one disagreement unravels everything you previously thought was settled. Have you heard it's cheaper to get divorced without an attorney? That's a myth. It's not. The assets lost by not knowing what you are legally entitled to are much more costly than an attorney. Have you heard attorneys bill by the minute and will waste time so that they can charge you more? At Divergent Family Law, that's a myth. We offer free consultations for divorce and provide you with a flat quote for representation. You won't have to wonder what you'll get charged. The facts are you'll get your best possible outcome when you have an experienced attorney at your side. Our attorneys have seen it all. They know the laws and they know the judges. They'll make sure that you get your fair share or better. Contact us today at divergentfamilylaw.com.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. You know, between this roller coaster stock market and talk of a looming recession and doom and gloom, now is not the time to gamble with your retirement. That's why you need to talk to Joe Brown, president of Brown Advisory Group, LLC. And in his best-selling book, Safe Money and Income, Joe shares his proven approach to protecting and growing your retirement savings. And today, it is yours, absolutely free. 855-806-SAFE. On the web, brownadvisorygroup.net.
For NARI award-winning home renovating.
This is House Call for Health. General Mills says it's making major changes to its cereal ingredients in the coming years. The company announcing earlier this week it's removing artificial colors from all of its cereal in the U.S. by 2027. Some of the popular cereals under that label, Lucky Charms, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cheerios, Trix, Kix, and Cocoa Puffs, among others. The company also says it's removing synthetic dyes from all of its U.S. cereals and foods served in K-12 schools by summer 2026. The announcement comes months after U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. revealed his plans to remove synthetic food dyes from U.S. foods to combat chronic disease and conditions including obesity. Food company Kraft Heinz also said Tuesday it will not release products in the U.S. with artificial colors effective immediately and plans to eliminate synthetic dyes from items by 2027. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
The iHeartRadio app now has preset buttons, just like your car radio. Now make sure one of those preset buttons is set to News Talk 1130 WISN. Excellence is just one click away on the preset buttons of the iHeartRadio app.
Well, that didn't take long. Just into us via CNBC, President Trump has now sued the Wall Street Journal and the Murdoch Group over that Wall Street Journal article alleging that he wrote a romantic poem to Jeffrey Epstein for Epstein's 50th birthday. I knew that was coming. You know why? Because it's so obviously false and defamatory. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Time now to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is none other than Dan Goldman. He is a United States representative from the great state of New York. He is also crazy, taking to the House floor and claiming that millions of people will die if the House passes the rescissions package that cuts funding to PBS and National Public Radio.
Rise today in strong opposition to President Trump's reckless and destructive rescissions bill. The proposed $8 billion cut to global aid programs is not only a short-sighted betrayal of American leadership, but it is going to result in millions of people getting sick and losing their lives.
Exactly how many people have gotten sick and lost their lives in the roughly 5-6 months since funding to USAID was halted? Yeah, that would be zero. Dan Goldman, your unhinged liberal of the day. Coming up, we do have breaking news from the Waukesha Sheriff's Department. The most famous deputy, quite possibly in the state of Wisconsin, has apparently offered his resignation. We'll get into that, plus the daily Trump date, the cancellation of Stephen Colbert, and much more when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Listen to Benjamin Yount, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
An explosive Friday morning in East LA. I'm John Saucier, Fox News. Local and federal officials are investigating a deadly explosion at a Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department training facility. Here's Fox's Kristen Goodwin with more.
LA County Sheriff Robert Luna confirming an explosion at the department's Special Enforcement Bureau in East LA.
Tragically, there were 3 sworn members who were fatally killed that were assigned to our arson explosives detail.
Saying no others were injured.
At this time, we do not know the cause of the explosion.
Stressing the FBI and ATF for helping to investigate and revealing the 3 killed had served the community proudly for 74 years collectively.
19 years, 22 years, and 33 years.
Calling this the largest loss of life for the department since 1857. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
The Genius Act is now law.
We take a giant step to cement the American dominance of global finance and crypto technology as we sign the landmark Genius Act into law.
President Trump speaking there in the East Room of the White House today, signing this bipartisan legislation which sets initial guardrails and consumer protection for stable coins, a type of cryptocurrency that's tied to a stable asset like the U.S. dollar. This reduces price volatility. It passed both the House and Senate with wide bipartisan margins. The Education Department will release some previously withheld grant money for after-school programs. This days after 10 Republican senators sent a letter imploring the Office of Management and Budget to allow the funds to be sent to states. President Trump's administration withheld more than $6 billion in federal grants for after-school and summer programs, adult literacy, and English language instruction, all this part of a review to ensure spending aligned with the White House's priorities. America's listening to Fox News.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Clouds continue to increase tonight to mostly cloudy conditions, while temperatures fall into the mid-60s with a southeast wind at 5 miles an hour. We'll be tracking morning showers and thunderstorms on Saturday, a few of which could be strong to severe, highs in the low 80s. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Lisa Michaels.
This report is sponsored by Terminix Batzner. Wake up every morning in a pest-free home with Batzner Pest Control's pest-free 365 service, their year-round preventative pest control program. To learn more and to save $50 off your initial pest service, visit Batzner.com today.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/policy. That's ethos.com/policy.
The One Big Beautiful Bill spans over 800 pages and introduces provisions and policy shifts that could impact your taxes and retirement. It marks a significant overhaul of the government's role across multiple sectors. As the implications unfold, questions abound. Annex Wealth Management is hosting a webinar to address these concerns. Join us Wednesday, July 23rd at noon for a free webinar. We'll explore the latest updates and open the chat for your questions. It's a valuable learning opportunity for everybody. Register today at annexwealth.com/events.
Toasted 25 seasons of American Family Field at the Brewers game on Friday, July 25th. Celebrate with a pregame ceremony, a postgame home run derby featuring Prince Fielder and more legends, plus special offers. Get your tickets at brewers.com.
Bob built a brand over the same 20 years iNet has. I bought multiple properties over those years. Bob gets real estate like I never will.
In real estate, every brokerage does the same thing.
MLS. Adding auction bidding to MLS, I knew if iNet branded it, told our story, home sellers would understand and accept this real estate revolutionizing platform.
You can be the best in your industry like Redefined Realty is. Even revolutionize your industry like Redefined Realty has with auction. Yet, it's your story that sells.
You can't tell your story as well as iNet Creative Genius will tell your story.
Real Estate for Winners is exactly what Redefined Realty and auction has always been.
Steven knocked our brand and marketing out of the park.
Selling a home? If you don't use Redefine's MLS and auction platform, you'll leave closing with less money than you would have. Tragic and that simple.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. iNet is improving marketing for winners.
iNetJustWeb.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Real Estate for Winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Your home cleaning friend. It's Edelman again. Edelman.
Profound insight, piercing analysis. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Hour number 2 begins with breaking news courtesy of our good friends at WisconsinRightNow.com. Waukesha County Sheriff's Deputy Detective, I should say, Joseph Mensah has just tendered his resignation. Wisconsin Right Now is posted on its X account, which you should definitely follow. It is Wisconsin_now. In the matter of resignation, a letter drafted to Waukesha County Sheriff Eric Severson that reads, Sheriff Severson, please accept this letter as my formal notice of my resignation from the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department effective July 31st, 2025. After much consideration, I feel it would be in the best interest of the Sheriff's Department, the community, my family, and my own personal well-being that I transition out of the law enforcement profession. The Waukesha County Sheriff's Department accepted me and brought me into its family when I needed them the most, and I am beyond grateful and thankful that I had the opportunity to serve alongside the men and women of this agency. If there is anything I can do to assist with this process, please let me know. Most respectfully, Detective Joseph Mensah. Mensah, of course, was the subject of leftist rage throughout 2020 and beyond after it was learned via randomly Jay-Z and the Jonas Brothers were posting on social media about Joseph Mensah being involved in 3 deadly officer-involved shootings. All 3 were perfectly justified. All 3 resulted in no criminal charges. One was attempted to be resurrected by a rogue Milwaukee County Circuit Court judge with a deep, deep conflict of interest. But the final one at Mayfair Mall very likely prevented a mass shooting. It was a guy who brought a handgun into a massive brawl at the mall. Mensah was able to get him out, get him away from the people. And as he was running away and attempting to use the gun on Mensah, Mensah was able to shoot and kill him. There were riots at Mensah's house, including included in that crowd was a member of the Wisconsin State Assembly, no longer there, David Bowen, who actually encouraged a guy who fired a shotgun into Mensah's home in Milwaukee to lie about what happened and pretend that somehow Mensah instigated this. That's a crime. Of course, Bowen was never criminally charged. The guy who fired the shot was. Mensah actually appeared on this program, and as he did, there were people preparing to show up at his house, or I believe it was the morning after. People showed up at his house to demonstrate and cause a scene and try to intimidate him as one of his children was having a birthday party. Just despicable behavior. And oh, by the way, Joseph Mensah is a black man. All three of the criminals he shot, also black. That fact sort of eluded, I think, many of the social justice mob that it sure sounds like from this resignation letter that he finally has had enough, that it just, I think, got to be too much, that he still, I think, 5 years later is still facing potential harassment. I mean, listen to how he phrased it. And frankly, folks, I really have no inside knowledge here. I have not talked to Detective Mensah in 5 years, so I have no idea. After much consideration, he writes, I feel it would be in the best interest of the sheriff's department, the community, my family, and my own personal well-being that I transition out of the law enforcement profession. Sure sounds like what he's saying is, I need to get out. It's just in everybody's best interest. My guess is that the leftists just will not leave this poor man alone. That is my very strong suspicion. I don't know if anyone from the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Severson, or anybody would like to corroborate that. I mean, was this guy being harassed? Was the Waukesha Sheriff's Department at large being harassed because it employed him, a guy who was protecting the community? And I mean, can you imagine how he must feel to have had to take 3 lives, to have to be involved in 3 different scenarios in which if he was a millisecond slower on the draw, he could have been dead. That's what people don't seem to understand here. We just had a not guilty plea by the scumbag who shot and killed Officer Kendall Corder of the Milwaukee Police Department. Killed by a guy who was ambushing him and his partner on the streets of Milwaukee. That very easily could have been Officer Joseph Mensah. He was on the Wauwatosa Police Department, of course. But 3 different times, he put himself in harm's way to protect the public from dangerous people with dangerous firearms. In another era, he would be considered a hero. But unfortunately, in this era, we have to deal with awful, awful liberals. So my salute to Officer and Detective Joseph Mensah as he pursues a different career. And I would urge him or anyone close to him, if there is anything I can do to help, if there's anything any of my listeners can do to help, rest assured we will do so. Sizzling Summer Cash Contest time. The word this hour is credit. CREDIT, credit. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword credit to enter the contest for this hour. If your entry is picked at random, you don't get $1,000 credit. You get $1,000 in cash.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Well, a whole lot of winning for the Trump administration.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Time now for your daily Trump date, an update on everything that happened at the White House today. About an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, President Trump signed what's known as the Genius Act, which he joked was named after him.
The Genius Act creates a clear and simple regulatory framework to establish and unleash the immense promise of dollar-backed stable coins. This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. A lot of people are saying that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yes? If you say yes, I'm saying yes.
President Trump was flanked by a lot of his economic team. Do you know who else was right behind him as he signed it? Wisconsin's own Congressman Brian Stile was there. The president also gave a shout out to the crypto industry, long condescendingly known as crypto bros.
Let me say the entire crypto community, for years, you were mocked and dismissed and counted out. You were counted out as little as a year and a half ago. But this signing is a massive validation. And even before this signing, over the last year and a half, I think your stuff has gone up more than any stock, or just about more. A couple of stocks that were pretty good, I will say. But you have certainly, as an industry, gone up more than anybody. Nobody's gained the respect in such a short period of time. But this signing is a massive validation of your hard work and your pioneering spirit and your ability to never give up.
The president is touting his administration's success in bringing down gas prices today. AAA, which tracks gas prices across the country, said in a news release the price of a gallon of gas had ticked down to $3.16 a gallon, matching the price during the summer of 2021, the last time seasonal prices were that low. White House spokesman Taylor Rogers, in a statement, says prices at the pump keep dropping thanks to President Trump unleashing American energy. President Trump ended Joe Biden's reckless war on American energy, and he's making life more affordable for families as a result. Just about 2 hours ago, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard announced that new declassified documents that were uncovered in the investigation into the Russiagate conspiracy indicate that President Obama himself directed the intelligence community to change its assessment abruptly in December of 2016 of just what Russia was doing or not doing to, quote, hack the 2016 presidential election. She has referred for potential criminal charges the case to the Department of Justice. That, ladies and gentlemen, your daily Trump date. Now, President Trump did also today announce that he is ordering select Jeffrey Epstein files, notably depositions, grand jury testimony, to be unsealed to, he hopes, put this controversy to rest. Today was the day that Democrats really leaned into this and decided that this is the issue that they are now going to attack Trump with. Here is Ken Martin, the director of the Democratic National Committee.
What is it that he doesn't want the American people to see? No matter what roadblocks these cowardly Republicans put in our way, Democrats continue to demand that the Trump administration release the Epstein files in full.
Here's Ted Lieu, constant thorn in Trump's side, House member from California.
The Epstein files that have already been released show that Trump is all over the files. He's in multiple pictures with Jeffrey Epstein. There's multiple videos of Trump with Jeffrey Epstein. There are plane logs of Trump on Epstein's plane. There are statements by Trump about Epstein. There are court pleadings of alleged victims of Epstein naming Trump. So we need to have these Epstein files released.
Squad member Pramila Jayapal, House member from the state of Washington.
What is in those files? Let's release this. This is a child predator. And what Trump is doing now appears to be a cover-up.
Is it? Trump himself has been saying, yes, that this is ridiculous. And what did stick with me was that he kept saying we want all credible files released, indicating to me that he believes that there are things in there that may falsely implicate him. Just look at what came out in the pages of the Wall Street Journal yesterday. This notion that he's writing love haikus to Epstein for Epstein's 50th birthday, that he's writing like a Shakespearean sonnet. When have you ever known? There's a voiceover and Donald says to Jeffrey, friendship is a beautiful enigma. What? That sounds absolutely nothing like Donald Trump. It would, if it was Donald, look at the breasts on that one. Jeffrey, yes, those are incredible. That I would believe. But have you noticed? Enigmas never age. Friendship is the most beautiful mystery of what? That sounds like some boomer lib aging theater kid writing fan fiction while doing untold things with his other hand as he's typing it out. I'm telling you, it sounds like they're having some sort of gay tryst. That's the only way you can read it. And obviously, this sort of thing is going to get into the media bloodstream. I did not believe it would be the Wall Street Journal of all publication. I would have said number one, New York Times. Number one by far would have been the New York Times to publish some nonsense like that. Number two, Washington Post. And like way far back in third place would probably be NBC News. Trump has sounded a tad defensive about this, leading to speculation that he's in the files, that he didn't actually cease his relationship with Epstein in 2005 when they were fighting over the purchase of some land near both of their homes down in Palm Beach. I don't know. Frankly, I don't. What I do know, and President Trump finally posted on Truth Social the rather obvious legal proof. Well, okay, not proof in the sense that what I said, logical proof, I guess, would be the if-then proposition. You got to think about this logically. If what we know about the intelligence community now, okay, what I told you about the intelligence community, what DNI Gabbard released about the intelligence community under Barack Obama, and what we know was happening with the Justice Department under President Biden and the Attorney General Merrick Garland. Trump posts on Truth Social, you're telling me they had all this material and they didn't use it ahead of 2020 or 2024? You would think the 2020 election would be the time to do it, right? Now you're saying, well, Dan, Trump controlled the Justice Department. Trump controlled the intelligence community. Like hell he did. They were undermining him the entire way. You're telling me to boost Biden or to boost Kamala Harris after the same Justice Department filed two separate criminal cases against Trump. They were sitting on evidence that he was with underage girls on Jeffrey Epstein's island, and they didn't go with a criminal case based on that? Really? The thing that has just struck me as the most, by far, the most bizarre thing about this huge conspiracy theory that every one of the world's wealthiest and most powerful people went to Epstein Island and was, trading young girls like they were Topps baseball cards, is in, I believe it was 2017, maybe 2016, Epstein was trying to shake down Bill Gates for money. He wanted him to pay for some computer classes that his then girlfriend, this Russian woman, was taking. He also wanted Gates to partner with him on some charitable venture. Gates didn't want to. Do you know what Epstein, because Epstein supposedly was blackmailing everyone, right? Blackmailing everybody because he had video of them with underage prostitutes, either at his penthouse in Manhattan or Epstein Island or on the plane or wherever. He threatened to expose Bill Gates's affair with this Russian woman who is very much of age. She's a bridge player. Why wouldn't he use all of the blackmail material he had on Bill Gates? Because Bill Gates figures very prominently in all of these Jeffrey Epstein conspiracies. Why would he make this lame, half-hearted say, I'm going to expose your affair with the Russian woman? Why didn't he say, hey, remember that trip we took to the U.S. Virgin Islands in 2012? Yeah, I got video of that. Why didn't he do that? That to me is the biggest thing that points to, yes, these girls were being trafficked, but they were being trafficked for Epstein. And yes, people who very likely were going to his island and, taking part in massages or adult massages. But this idea that there was this massive global network just doesn't seem to have any credibility to it. You might recall that there was one deposition that did mention Donald Trump. Do you know when that deposition was filed? Just before the 2016 election. Isn't that convenient? Do you remember when Trump highlighted the Bill Clinton affairs and he had a bunch of Clinton's mistresses sit in the front row of his debate with Hillary? Do you remember that? And then the infamous Billy Bush tape came out, and all of these women, none of whom had ever raised any sort of... Donald Trump was in the public eye. He's one of the most famous men in the world for 20 years before that, heck, 30 years practically. Not a single sexual assault claim. There were something like 15 sexual assault claims in the span of about a month and a half. What are the odds of that? That deposition came out of that. It was dropped. Nobody paid any lawyers' fee. There was no settlement. There was nothing because it lacked credibility. And it was a Jane Doe making this allegation. Never went anywhere. The only person who has ever made any sort of claim that she was forced to have relations with anybody other than Jeffrey Epstein was Virginia Giuffre. Giuffre has told multiple different stories. She just passed away of suicide, which admittedly looks strange, but her family has apparently accepted that, yes, this actually was a suicide. She's a very troubled woman. Most likely because of what Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell did to her. But the only corroboration she was ever able to provide was a picture that she took with Prince Andrew. She's claiming Bill Richardson, the Democrat politician. There were a number of others. It was a baseball bigwig, another former Dem congressman whose name escapes me. He was big in the 1994 baseball strike. Number of hedge fund guys. Never presented any evidence. None of these guys were ever sued. It was her word saying, okay, here. Now, the sheer randomness of the men that she named would tend to point to, okay, well, why would she, if you're just going to be crazy and accuse everybody, you say, Michael Jordan and Oprah Winfrey and Tom Cruise. Not Bill Richardson. He's not the first one that comes to mind of the world's wealthiest and most powerful. Now, he was clearly there. He is in the flight logs. I think it can probably be surmised what at least some of the people who would go to Epstein's Island were doing. But it should be noted, none of it has ever been proven. And we did a big expose going about 2 hours. And I don't want to rehash what we did on Monday or Tuesday's program, whichever it was, the truth about Jeffrey Epstein. But I do want to reiterate that there is a big disconnect between fact and what I would consider to be inference and supposition. That people just sort of believe as gospel things about Epstein that just aren't true. This is why I am always someone who wants as much material in the public domain as possible. I would say release it all. The thing that's difficult is the pictures and videos. This is child pornography. These are teenage girls. You can't release that. And it's not like you could send members of Congress to a SCIF to view this stuff because it's still child pornography. But any relevant document that not aimed at putting this whole thing to rest, but getting the full truth to try to get the full picture of what's going on. Just take a look at the John F. Kennedy files. Pretty much everything that has ever been documented on Kennedy has now been released. Do you know what every single thing shows? Lone gunman. People still aren't going to accept that conclusion. There are people who will never accept any conclusion about Jeffrey Epstein other than the one they have already come to, independent of a complete examination of the evidence. But for those who have an open mind, for those who are persuaded and are basing their feelings and thoughts about this on the facts, I think that could go a long way. So we shall see what the next tranche of documents shows, and we shall see what's next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. I'll give you a hint. Stephen Colbert getting the axe.
We'll be right back.
Some things are easier said than done, like packing your carry-on and getting everything to fit. Whew. Other things are easier done than said, like getting $350 cash back when you open a new TrueStone checking account, so you can bag back some cash back to stash in your backpack. Hard to say, but easy to do, because our digital switch kit makes setting up your new TrueStone checking account practically effortless. Easy and $350? It's true, because we're TrueStone. Open by December 31st, and within 60 days, set up a $5,000 direct deposit and e-statements. Membership required.
When starting a new home project, the first step is the hardest to take. Hi, Colleen here with Tri-County Contracting. And with Tri-County Contracting, the first step is super easy. Go to tricountycontractingwi.com. You can fill out a short form requesting a free estimate. Amanda will give you a call and schedule a no-pressure appointment with you. Whether it's roofing, siding, windows, or all of the above, we have you covered. If you are looking for an even faster roof price, we also have our instant roof quote button. Name, address, and email address, and you have your price on the spot. Easy first step. Then, all the steps after that, we'll take care of those for you. Getting you an easy-to-read, clear proposal quickly comes next. Then we can help you pick colors using our showroom or project map on our website. We pull the permits, we take care of materials and disposal. Our trained and specialized crews and project managers take care of all the install and cleanup. For you, it's as easy as one step, and that step is easy. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
From the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington Total Traffic Center.
4145 heavy northbound Swan to Hampton, southbound from Good Hope to Capitol. Along 94 westbound backed up from 35th to Mitchell. Heavy eastbound from 76th to 27th. I'm Mike Priest, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Terminix Batzner. Wake up every morning in a pest-free home with Batzner Pest Control's Pest-Free 365 service, their year-round preventative pest control program. To learn more and to save $50 off your initial pest service, visit Batzner.com today.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
The 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival is brought to you by Metro. With their new lower prices, the celebration starts way before the festival. Big savings so you can focus on your favorite artist, not your phone bill. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
I'm Dan Voss from Cut and Go. Ugly and depressing and trees killed off by emerald ash, oak wilt, and Dutch elm disease are dangerous for friends and loved ones, even a potential liability. Slowly rotting, left-standing hardwood trees can weigh tens of thousands of pounds. Even seemingly smaller branches can weigh tens, even hundreds of pounds. With Cut and Go, there is no reason to risk injury or property damage. Live trees in precarious placement for an arborist to remove over homes, garages, commercial buildings, luxury landscapes are easily and safely laid on the ground by Cut and Go's NCCER crane-operated certified remote control automobile mounted articulating crane grapple saw operators. You can save big money and stock up on firewood by having Cut and Go put your trees on the ground for you to clean up or have a bonfire or split firewood, or we can take it all with us when we leave. A Tons of Trees movement. cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com. Once again, that's cutandgotrees.com.
When it comes to selling a home, it can be hard to know who you can trust. At Grandview Homes, our reputation is built on doing what we promise. No surprises, just an honest offer to buy your home. Get your no-obligation offer at grandviewhomes.com today.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at mandercollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
Get back to the ballpark for Brewers action against the Marlins July 25th through the 27th. Second half of the season kicks off with Pokemon Go Day on the 25th and a Bryce Terang bobble on the 26th. Get seats today at brewers.com.
Hey, it's Vicki McKenna. You probably think your 401k is safe, that it's growing, that it will be enough for your retirement. But what if it's not? Here's the truth. Your 401k was never designed to make you wealthy. It was built to shift risk from corporations to you, leaving your money exposed to market crashes, inflation, and uncertainty. But now Americans are taking back control with real assets like gold. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands protect their future by converting part of their retirement savings into physical gold so they can stop worrying about the market and start sleeping better at night. Talk to Noble Gold today and learn how safe and easy it is to roll over your 401k into a tax-advantaged gold IRA without penalties or headaches. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit, including a step-by-step guide to get started. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. It's time to get your money out of the danger zone and into something real.
Divergent Family Law offers free consultations for divorce and flat rate quotes so you can make informed decisions about your next steps. Our experienced attorneys are committed to helping you understand your rights and options. Your fair share or better, divergentfamilylaw.com.
Are you ready to celebrate the warmer weather? Then check out the Sawmill Restaurant and Pub in Richfield. Their home-style meals are worthy of any celebration. Just take the Holy Hill exit from 41, turn west, and then turn right on Wolf Road. It's just after the railroad track. It's a great place to share with friends at any time.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. Make News Talk 1130 WISN your number one preset on our free iHeartRadio app, powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
A tour de force of truth, the sort of truth the rest of the media used to report. But since they don't, I guess that job falls to us. It's the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome back to it. Stephen Colbert making the announcement on last night's show.
Oh, hey, everybody. We got a great show for you tonight. Senator Adam Schiff was my guest. We harmonized on Seven Bridges Road. What a voice. I cried. But before we start the show, I want to let you know something that I found out just last night. Next year will be our last season. The network will be ending The Late Show in May.
The official reason given was that this was a purely financial decision. It has subsequently been revealed that The Late Show is making about $40 million a year. Sounds pretty good, right? It cost $100 million a year to produce. How is that even possible? It cost like $100 million to produce Game of Thrones, which had giant dragon battles. This is a guy telling jokes in front of a studio audience. And for 2 whole years, he was in his house because he was scared of COVID-19. Now, the timing is very suspect, according to the left. On Monday's show, Colbert criticized the parent company of CBS for settling its lawsuit with Donald Trump. And the reason they did that, folks, is because they did not want to go through discovery. The discovery process in a lawsuit is when your opponent gets access to your emails, your relevant letters, whatever is pertinent to the claim that they're making. In other words, it's a way of gathering evidence. This is the civil equivalent of criminal investigation, where the detectives pore over all the available evidence. It's called discovery in a civil suit. What do you suppose Discovery was going to show about 60 Minutes heavily editing Kamala Harris's interview in a direct effort to help her not look like the blithering idiot that she obviously was? It's going to show that they obviously did this to help her, and that the highest executives in CBS News were making this decision because they were allowing their what is ostensibly fair-minded news department and news program to be used as a propaganda arm to help a particular preferred presidential candidate. that would immediately destroy the credibility, not just of 60 Minutes, not just of CBS News, but of the entire network, and to a large extent, the entire news business. Because if CBS is doing this, well, certainly I think NBC and ABC are doing that as well. The last thing any of these networks wanted was to have the Trump team, his lawyers, go through all of their emails and discovery. So they all settled for astronomical amounts of money. They're going to give just tons of money to the Trump Presidential Library. The next up is going to be the Wall Street Journal. I believe it's the Dow Jones Corporation, Rupert Murdoch, all getting sued just within the last hour or so by President Trump over this obviously false love letter that he wrote to Jeffrey Epstein back in 2003. Colbert criticized the network for that. And yes, his show is canceled now. But if you're losing $60 million a year, there's a story out today, I think Hollywood Reporter, that CBS executives were looking at ending, and Colbert is not being replaced. It's not like they're going to bring in Conan O'Brien. They are ending the Late Show franchise. Do you remember how far back it goes? About 30 years. When David Letterman left NBC, where he hosted Late Night following The Tonight Show, and didn't get The Tonight Show, which was, of course, promised to him, but instead went to Johnny Carson's permanent fill-in, Jay Leno, he jumped ship to CBS and competed head-to-head with Leno for decades. Leno was the undisputed king of late night, but David Letterman was one of the most, before he became a curmudgeon leftist boomer crank, he was one of the most innovative forces in comedy. In the 1980s, 1990s, he was at the top of his game. Stephen Colbert inherited that about a decade ago and ran it into the ground. Turned it into not something that everybody would gather around and have some laughs before they went to bed, but as my friend Stephen L. Miller, not the Stephen Miller in the Trump administration, but the writer Stephen L. Miller said, it became nothing but late night group therapy for libs. Listen to his announcement again. Just listen very carefully, okay? Listen to it again.
Oh, hey, everybody. We got a great show for you tonight. Senator Adam Schiff was my guest. We harmonized on Seven Bridges Road. What a voice. I cried. But
my guest was Senator Adam Schiff. Who could possibly care about Senator Adam Schiff? Do you realize Colbert had Stacey Abrams, the failed gubernatorial candidate from Georgia, on his show 4 different times? 4. He's not getting Tom Hanks. He's not getting Ryan Gosling or Margot Robbie or Sydney Sweeney or any Hollywood people that someone might actually want to tune into. He's getting leftist politicians and leftist commentators to say leftist things. He made it abundantly clear very early on in his tenure as host of The Late Show, conservatives weren't welcome. Do you know who the #1 show in late night is, and it's not even close? Greg Gutfeld over on Fox News. Gutfeld on a cable network. Incidentally, this is not the end of Stephen Colbert. I think Clay Travis posited what I was actually thinking as well. CNN or MSNBC, they're going to snap up Colbert in a heartbeat to try to counter-program Greg Gutfeld. They're going to try to have their own Gutfeld, and Colbert is going to do more of a news-focused program. Here's the thing about Colbert. He isn't a totally unfunny guy. When he followed the Daily Show with Jon Stewart as the Colbert Report, and he did basically a satire, he did a send-up of Bill O'Reilly, it was very funny. It was a very well-done show. And the reason was the character of Stephen Colbert that he created was ultimately, yes, a dunce, but an amiable dunce. And he was well-meaning and he was likable. and the audience was in on the joke. It was never mean-spirited jokes at the expense of conservatives. It was an almost loving send-up of them. Stephen Colbert in real life is just a jerk. And most importantly, he became unfunny. The point was no longer to get people to laugh at hilarious jokes. The point was to get not laughter, but what's known as clapter. People aren't necessarily, these audiences that he's playing to aren't necessarily laughing at his jokes. They're clapping because they agree with the political sentiment behind them. Even liberals weren't watching this tripe because they can get it literally anywhere. And that's what people don't seem to understand with respect to National Public Radio as well. Why is the public, why are taxpayers funding overtly political programming when they can get the exact same message anywhere? The reason for the success of this show, of Mark Belling before it, of Rush Limbaugh, of Clay and Buck, of Jay, of Vicky, of everybody, is because you don't get this anywhere else. You can't turn on the nightly news and hear somebody like me saying things that you agree with. It just doesn't happen. You need a show like this because there's nothing else like it in the market. Stephen Colbert, they're a dime. You can go to Kimmel, you can go to Jimmy Fallon, you can go to Seth Meyers. They're all telling the exact same anti-right-wing, left-leaning, unfunny jokes. So I'd say good riddance, but my money is on Colbert resurfacing on either CNN or MSNBC before the end of next year. You still got to deal with him until next May. He'll be on the air when his contract eventually ends.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Southbound 43 on the brakes from Bender through the Marquette to the KK River. Northbound side delays from Wells to Silver Spring. 4145 heavy south Good Hope to Capitol. Northbound from Swan to Hampton. I'm Mike Priest, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Terminix Batzner. Wake up every morning in a pest-free home with Batzner Pest Control's Pest-Free 365 service, their year-round preventative pest control program. To learn more and to save $50 off your initial pest service, visit Batzner.com today.
I'm Mark Belling, and my podcast is here, and I'm tackling the world. You can find me on the iHeart app or wherever you get your podcasts. Type Mark Belling Podcast in the search and hang on for the ride.
The Mark Belling Podcast is presented by Uline. For quality shipping and industrial supplies, Uline has everything in stock. Visit uline.com. Also supported by NX Wealth Management. The Mark Belling Podcast, now available at iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here. You know me, you trust me, and you know I don't recommend just anyone. That's why when I talk about Weather Pro Exteriors, I mean it when they say they are very choosy about what they install on your home. They don't do cheap. They do quality because quality lasts. When you hire Weather Pro Exteriors, you're getting craftsmanship that's built to stand the test of time, and every dollar of profit they make goes right back into the company, upgrading to things like a new crane truck, on-site training, and hiring only the very best of the best. And if their team is good, and they are, Weather Pro pays them what they're worth because your project reflects their name. They feel like a big national company, but they are 100% local, owned, staffed, and operated right out of West Dallas. No out-of-town investors, no random subs. You want to see what quality feels like? Stop by their amazing showroom and put your hands on the very products that could transform your home. Weather Pro Exteriors, local, invested, and proud of it. Check them out at weatherproexteriors.com.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve, here to tell you about Grieve Civil Law. There's a lot of things in life we put off for far too long. Going to the doctor or the gym or the dentist. We know we should do it, but there's always something else more urgent. Estate planning cannot be put off. Life is unexpected. Have you thought about what your family would go through if you died without a will? Probate is stressful, time-consuming, and costly. It can cause family disputes and resentment. Is that what you want your legacy to be? Don't procrastinate when it comes to your family's future. Protect them from chaos and confusion. Don't let your legacy be the mess you left them with. You probably hear a lot of ads that say, time is running out, don't wait. It's a marketing gimmick. We all know there will be another sale soon. When it comes to estate planning, time is literally running out. Plan today and have peace of mind tomorrow. Don't gamble with your life's work. Don't gamble with your family's future. GrieveCivilLaw.com, because time is running out.
I'm Josh Parks, owner of Infinity Exteriors. 9 out of 10. Brand new roofs can't pass a simple manufacturer warranty inspection. Every Infinity roof does.
MJ, Josh's partner here, protecting homeowners for decades to come, always installing roofs, siding, and windows to better than manufacturer warranty specifications is how we built Infinity to the most successful exterior remodeling company in the Midwest.
It's your home, it's your roof. With Infinity, it's all about you.
Infinity passes on buying power no other roofer has, saving you money.
Infinity provides absolute transparency in pricing with our proprietary app, showing exactly what Infinity is going to do and exactly what everything will cost line by line, real time.
No waiting 3 days to a week for a quote.
If you like what you see,
and you will,
Infinity can schedule your new roof, siding, or windows, including financing, right there in your home. No hassle, no waiting.
Warranted, guaranteed quality. Installing peace of mind. InfinityRoofing.com.
That's InfinityRoofing.com.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellenbecker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond. From walk-in closets to new laundry rooms and pantries, our experienced designers work within your budget to design a solution fit perfectly to your needs. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Get into summer with iHeart80s. Rewind to a decade in music that defined a generation. From Madonna to Michael. And more. iHeart80s goes commercial free this weekend and every weekend. Open the free iHeart app, search iHeart80s, and make it your next preset.
iHeartRadio.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. It is time now to name the unsung hero of the day, brought to you by Blue Line Cleaning Services, residential and commercial cleaning done by professionals.
They're on to find the hero of the day.
Today's unsung hero of the day is Waukesha County Sheriff's Detective Joseph Mensah, who today filed for his resignation, sending a letter to Sheriff Eric Severson that because it was time for him to, for the good of the community, for the good of the Sheriff's Department, for his own personal well-being, exit the law enforcement field. He was, of course, the Wauwatosa police officer who was unfortunately involved in 3 different deadly officer-involved shooting incidents. All 3 were cleared. All 3 were perfectly justified, and all 3 very likely stopped a potential catastrophe, including the final one in which he very likely stopped a mass shooting. As he exits law enforcement, we salute Detective Mensa as our unsung hero of the day. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back after this.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
4145 heavy south from Good Hope to Burleigh, then south on the bypass. Slow from the zoo through the Hale, the Forest Home. Westbound bypass delays 27th to 68th. I'm Mike Priest, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Grand Appliance. Shop Grand Appliance for extended July 4th specials on top brands like LG. Plus, get hundreds in additional savings you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at grandappliance.com or your local Grand Showroom. That's Grand Appliance. Appliance experts since 1930.
This change has leveled us up while being able to maintain the same quality of service that we've always provided, with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission. We're proud to be part of the Century 21 family, so you can move fearlessly with the added confidence of top-of-the-line marketing for maximum home exposure. And that means more eyeballs and the real potential for the highest price for your home. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
You've got an app for music, an app for photos, maybe even one that helps you sleep. But only one app puts the live radio dial in your pocket and lets you save your favorite stations, playlists, and podcasts as presets. Get the free iHeartRadio app, the #1 app for radio.
The One Big Beautiful Bill spans over 800 pages and introduces provisions and policy shifts that could impact your taxes and retirement. It marks a significant overhaul of the government's role across multiple sectors. As the implications unfold, questions abound. Annex Wealth Management is hosting a webinar to address these concerns. Join us Wednesday, July 23rd at noon for a free webinar. We'll explore the latest updates and open the chat for your questions. It's a valuable learning opportunity for everybody. Register today at annexwealth.com/events.
Henry Wadsworth Longfellow famously said, "Into each person's life, some rain must fall." At Ryan Waterproofing, we tend to agree, as long as it's not in your basement. Free estimates, because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing. Call Ryan.com. That's call RION.com.
Flawless Flooring installs luxury vinyl plank, hardwood, modern laminate, or carpeting. And Flawless Flooring has artisan craftsmen who refinish existing wood floors. Our employee-only team restores stained, worn, dented, gouged, even burned hardwood floors to better than brand new. Better than because today's finishes are far more wear-resistant. Flawless's craftsmen replace severely damaged flooring, keeping what can be restored and even expanding existing hardwood floors meticulously and seamlessly, blending old and new. Sensory underload, flawlessflooringllc.com.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at ACCUNET.com.
Warshawski trial attorney Frank Crivello here. Folks, I'm Victor Harding. Frank is selected Best Lawyers 2024 Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year.
More impressive is Victor Harding named Product Liability Attorney of the Year again for 2024.
It may sound boastful to mention these prestigious awards.
It's not boastful, considering if you or someone you love is injured, you need to know 2 attorneys from the same personal injury firm being chosen by other lawyers and judges for these caliber of awards is very rare.
Heaven forbid you ever need an injury claim made on your behalf. If you do, the quality of your attorney and law firm will have a greater impact on the outcome than even the facts of your case.
Former clients, other lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, and even insurance adjusters,
often our adversaries,
refer their family and friends to Warshawski because they know Warshawski will achieve maximum compensation.
Injured? It is about the money.
Warshawski.com.
That's Warshevsky.com.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
Passionate about what's right. This is News Talk 1130 WISN. 40 years ago, being informed was about reading the newspaper and watching the nightly news. Now, with information coming at you at the speed of light, being truly informed is a complex proposition, a more comprehensive process. At WISN, our show hosts frame stories, issues, and topics with both facts and unique analysis. And that leaves you with a richer understanding of the world around you. It's the perfect blend of information and insight. Stay informed all day, every day on WISN.
No radio handy?
No problem. Listen to WISN's live audio stream 24/7 via the web. Just click on the Listen Online tab at newstalk1130.com. All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Listen to Clay and Buck weekdays 11 to 2 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
A prisoner swap. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. 10 Americans jailed in Venezuela are released as part of a deal that includes migrants deported to El Salvador.
El Salvador has agreed to send more than 250 Venezuelan migrants deported by the Trump administration back home as part of a deal that is also freeing 10 Americans held in Venezuela. The Venezuelans accused of gang membership were jailed in El Salvador's notorious mega prison known as the Terrorism Confinement Center as part of an agreement with the U.S. Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele says the exchange also includes a considerable number of Venezuelan political prisoners held by the regime for years.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The Justice Department has asked the federal court in Manhattan to unseal grand jury transcripts in sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's case a day after President Trump directed the Justice Department to do so. 3 Los Angeles deputies have died after an explosion at about 7:30 this morning at a training facility in East LA.
At this time, we do not know the cause of the explosion. However, the specific area has been closed off due to the ongoing investigation.
LA County Sheriff Robert Luna describes the deputies as highly trained experts. The FBI and ATF are assisting in the investigation. This is the department's worst loss of life since 1857. President Trump has signed the first of its kind legislation regulating cryptocurrency. The bipartisan measure called the Genius Act puts consumer protections in place for stable coins, which are digital assets tied to the U.S. dollar.
Just as I promised last year, the Genius Act creates a clear and simple regulatory framework to establish and unleash the immense promise of dollar-backed stable coins.
Earlier this week, the House passed other crypto bills. They still need Senate approval. America is listening to Fox News.
Clouds continue to increase tonight to mostly cloudy conditions, while temperatures fall into the mid-60s with a southeast wind at 5 miles an hour. We'll be tracking morning showers and thunderstorms on Saturday, a few of which could be strong to severe, highs in the low 80s. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Lisa Michaels.
This report is sponsored by Harwood Place Assisted Living in Wauwatosa. Located in the heart of Wauwatosa, Harwood Place Assisted Living offers quality nursing care, chef-prepared meals, gym and fitness classes, salon, church services, and so much more. To learn more about their monthly incentives or schedule a tour, visit harwoodplace.org.
We're the Libby family
at Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
Bathrooms and kitchens are our specialty.
We use real wood cabinets and quartz tops to make beautiful rooms you will love for many, many years.
And our experts really know their stuff.
Remember our slogan,
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
Tony Evers and the Madison Democrats are too weak and too radical. But the same old career politicians can't stop them.
I'm Bill Berrien, a former Navy SEAL and Wisconsin manufacturer. I'm an outsider and a businessman, just like President Trump. I'm running for governor to advance the Trump agenda, shake up Madison, and put Wisconsin citizens first.
Let's fire the bureaucrats. Hire the outsider. Bill Berrien for governor. Paid for by Bill for Governor.
I'm Art Flater of Central Office Systems. Any business can be brought to its knees by thieves and IT hackers.
Chris Rozecki here. The IT guy you've known since high school doesn't have the resources to protect your organization.
Central Office Systems is the small business IT company that understands cyber with resources to back up your network.
Does your team work outside the hours of 8 to 5? Does your IT company do the same without nickel and diming you? Central Office Systems. No nickeling, no diming.
You hear those injured ads? Cameras with good resolution working properly cut down on injuries. Cameras deter thieves. Cameras deter scammers. Cameras that work.
With Central Office Systems Managed Network Support, a qualified technician grateful for the opportunity to solve your issue answers the phone within 1 minute.
Camera systems, network security, network support.
Have insurance? Will that satisfy your customers while your company's crucial business functions are zero for a week or two? Real Insurance is utilizing an IT service provider who secures your computers from ever going down.
CentralOfficeSystems.com.
It's peak barbecue season, and every new guest to my home seems to ask the same question. Can I see your garage floor? Yeah, it's a little weird, but I'm proud to show off my stellar new Comer & Cross floor and sing the company's praises and process. Not long ago, Comer & Cross transformed my old stained, pitted, exposed concrete floor into a highlight of my house. And right now, you can get $750 off of their already low price and transform your garage as well. Comer & Cross makes it so easy, too. Their techs will take the stuff out of your garage for you, then they'll sand down the surface and fix the cracking and pitting before applying your new floor in a 6-step process that's become the gold standard. And afterward, a Comer & Cross floor is guaranteed never to chip, crack, or show tire lift. This is a restored floor done right. All of their installers are uniformed pros, no freelancers. Big difference. Call Comer & Cross for a quick estimate and take $750 off of their already low price. 262-788-6430. That's 788-6430 or COMERcross.com.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex.com.
Show summaries, podcasts, political tidbits,
And the hottest photo galleries in radio. All available to you whenever you demand them at newstalk1130.com.
Almost quitting time on a beautiful Friday afternoon in the middle of the summer. I am Dan O'Donnell. In this final hour, we will bring you the strangest stories of the past week. It's a segment we always have fun doing called How Bizarre. And weirdly enough, we are going to spend 2 separate segments talking about 2 separate stories, one in How Bizarre and one that is remarkably deep and philosophical, and both involve the #1 golfer in the world, Scottie Scheffler, who, spoiler alert, in case you want to watch the Open Championship or British Open or whatever it's called. Now, by the way, producer Jeff is a full-time employee over on the sports station. When did we all just sort of decide that we're no longer going to call the British Open and call it the Open Championship? When golf got even more snooty, he said. I like that. It'll always be the British to me. He is your 36-hole leader. He had a great second round today and came from a couple strokes back to take the lead. Let's just say there was an extended follow-through on one of his shots in the first round that went viral on the internet. Not a lot of people, though, heard it or saw it because everybody is talking about this CEO of Astronomer, which is a tech company by the name of Andy Byron, and his affair that was exposed at the Coldplay concert in Boston. Coldplay, by the way, is coming to Camp Randall tomorrow night. You talk about a fortuitous follow-up for the city of Madison, because doggone well the eyes of the entire world are going to be on that. Chris Martin, the lead singer of Coldplay, inadvertently, I think, exposed the affair. They were doing a kiss cam segment with couples and all of this. And Byron and Kristen Cabot brought this on themselves. Everybody is saying pretty much the same thing. If they just played it off like it was nothing, nobody would have thought twice about it. Because they behaved the way they did, because they just panicked, because Cabot first turned around and said, oh my God, we're on camera. And then Byron did the absolute funniest thing possible, just duck out of view of the camera to try to get out of the way. That was the reason that it became this massive viral thing. And I was sort of thinking about it. Do you know the real reason, I think? And first of all, obviously, it's objectively hilarious. It is just a hilarious 5-7 second video clip. It's perfect for the TikTok age. But if this was Andy Byron, the garbage man, having an affair with Kristen Cabot, the office worker at the garbage company, do you think anybody would have cared? No. The fact that it's with the head of HR makes it even funnier. The CEO and the head of HR. And weirdly, right by them was a top-ranking HR executive who was just hired a couple of months earlier from the same company. She's the one next to them who's kind of holding her hands up, trying to hide her face as well. So what was this, like a double date, I guess a triple date? Dare I ask what was going to happen between the three of them after the Coldplay concert? By the way, Coldplay has been taking a whole lot of strays on this one. Everybody is saying he's got to go home and tell his wife the horrible truth that he listens to Coldplay. I happen to think Coldplay is a pretty decent band. I never really got into them, frankly. Yeah, they're sort of like Radiohead. Tom York is a brilliant musician, but all of Radiohead's music is all about convincing you that Tom York is a brilliant musician. And Coldplay is sort of the poppier Radiohead. I mean, there are a couple of songs. I thought Viva La Vida is a tremendous song. In fact, it was very big when my wife and I got married, and that was the song that we walked. Everybody walked out after we were married. They had a string quartet that we had hired, and they played the instrumental to Viva La Vida. Dun, 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 dun. So there's always a soft spot in my heart for Coldplay. But the reason that so many people are piling on and are laughing about this is because he's a CEO. It's because there is this innate Schadenfreude embedded in the human psyche that we want to see people who are, in our minds, more successful, richer, more handsome, more powerful, whatever it is, better at sports, have a better house. We want to see them knocked down a peg. We take this, that's what Schadenfreude is. It's this perverse joy in other people's suffering. And believe me, it does not get much more suffering than being, there was an old saying that every day on Twitter, there is a main character. Your goal is to never, ever, ever be it, because there is always someone who is just getting piled on all of social media, really. And right now it's this guy and this gal. I mean, they are the main characters of social media. And the big reason for that, I think, is it's just CEOs. We have, because of left-wing socialism, we have built them up as the enemies of a free and good society. Heck, how many libs are still cheering the cold-blooded murder of the United Healthcare CEO back in December on the streets of New York? They're holding up the psychopath, the silver spoon trust fund baby socialist psychopath who murdered him, as something of a Robin Hood-like hero. That's how perverse the left is. So, of course, they're going to revel in this guy's life just completely being ruined. this woman's life, I would presume. I guess they're both married. I have no idea. One thing that should be noted is what's going around as his statement, where he appears to blame Coldplay for putting on camera what was supposed to be a private moment. That is most certainly not a real press release. The first Twitter account or X account that posted it was Peter Enos, a reporter for CBS. First initial P, last name Enos. P. Enos. I'm taking a wild guess. Mr. Enos is not a real reporter. But yeah, this does, I think, speak to something just a little bit deeper, and that is the schadenfreude that we feel, and this long-term cultural Marxist war against anyone who's successful, the quote-unquote C-suite or CEO class. That said, the biggest reason is it's just freaking funny. Sizzling Summer Cash Contest. Word this hour. Bank, B-A-N-K, Bank. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword bank to enter the contest for this hour. If your entry is picked at random, you will win $1,000 in cash instantly. Yeah, there really is this, I think, desire to, if not humiliate like this CEO is or has been, just knock down a peg anyone who we feel is in any way better than us, right? It's only natural, I think. 414-799-1130. You want to join the Dan O'Donnell Show? 1-800-838-9476. Email me, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, on Facebook, and on Instagram. We are streaming live on all three, plus LinkedIn, plus YouTube, plus anywhere you can stream. Chances are we are there. Yesterday, I reported that it looks an awful lot like Congressman Mark Pocan is cyber stalking Congressman Derek Van Orden. The two absolutely hate each other. That much is clear. And for a long time, Van Orden would kind of go along and have a back and forth tete-a-tete on social media, particularly X, with Pocan. Now, Pocan's behavior just seems really, really weird and creepy. I totaled up 789 tweets that Pocan has sent at Van Orden's official account using his handle, which means it will show up on Van Orden's feed. 789 since May of 2021. That was as far back as I could go. He is now averaging, in the month of July, 3 tweets per day at Derek Van Orden. And I didn't even count all of the times that Pocan has tweeted about Van Orden using such words as Derek Van Orden or DVO. Those are another several hundred where he just didn't tag for whatever reason Van Orden. He often does tag the official at Derek Van Orden account. Sometimes he does not. Just in tweets where he tags Van Orden, just in those tweets, 789 in a little over 4 years. He is now averaging about 3 per day targeting Van Orden in all of these tweets. What I did not realize is that right before the vote on the rescissions package, Van Orden and Pocan actually had a face-to-face encounter, if you will, outside the Capitol. Pocan was doing an interview. Van Orden drives his motorcycle right behind him and comes up to him to confront him about all of the crazy stuff that he's saying on social media. Take a listen to this.
That's the real problem.
Anything else? There he is.
buddy, Derek Van Orden. You can put that on the news.
Was that on me? No, it's the nicest thing you did to me all day.
Hey, Derek. Classy as always, man. We love it. Thank you.
Have you lost your mind?
Yeah, right.
You know, people read this stuff.
I saw your drunken tweet at 1:30 in the morning last night.
No, I got done with NDA.
Oh, I got you.
Listen, Mark,
That's
that's
not
a problem, and I don't know what it is, but I encourage you to seek mental health counseling. It's absolutely disgusting.
Derek, why don't you debate me? Why are you so afraid to debate anyone here? We could do this to the media. Why don't you want to debate the big, beautiful bill?
Mark
Why are you afraid
never
to
had a
have
job
a
in
debate
his
on the
entire
bill?
life other than politics, and he doesn't understand it.
I've owned a small business for 37 years. Tony, you own a small business. That's a little work, isn't it?
And he funnels over $500,000 a year of his campaign money to buy signs from his company.
Okay, look that up. Oh my God. Are you drinking right now, Derek? That's the real question. All right.
Again, weird. Just weird. Van Orden, by the way, is correct. In the 2024 campaign cycle, Pocan and his allies paid $390,649 in campaign cash to Pocan's sign company. Now, Pocan first ran for political office in 2012. 2010, his company did zero political business. Isn't that weird that all of a sudden it's doing $390,000 worth of business? Democratic Party of Wisconsin, $237,000. Tammy Baldwin for Senate, $48,000. Mark Pocan for Congress, $26,000. Wisconsin Project PAC, $45,000. Power to the Polls, $10,000. Now, that's rather interesting now, isn't it? The implication here is that this business is only going to Pocan because he's Mark Pocan. That is very difficult to prove. And in fact, if he's making political signs and candidates need political signs, they have choices where they can go, but they certainly are free to go to Mark Pocan. Far more troubling is the $26,000 the Mark Pocan campaign paid to the Mark Pocan sign business. That is interesting. What is very interesting is that it wasn't until he went into office that his sign business really picks up with respect to the political money that is flowing in. One thing that to me is more bizarre than anything else with the two of these, and I'm going to look in further about whether or not this actually does run afoul of campaign finance laws. It definitely is unethical if it's not illegal to use your own company and charge. I mean, this guy, I bet you I can go back and find all sorts of tweets where he's ripping on Trump for staying at his own properties when he goes to Scotland or something like that, because he wants to have all the Secret Service and the government to pay for it, and how unethical that is. Well, meanwhile, he's giving himself $26,000 in sign business. In any event, a tweet from July 15th in which Pocan is saying, I'm going to go right down the street from Derek Van Orden's house to do a town hall. That is about as creepy as it gets. We're going to step aside for a break. When we come back, we stop with the serious and get with the silly. How bizarre! Strangest stories of the past 7 days. Next.
From the place you want to go, Lynch McGuanago Traffic Center.
Northbound 43 slowing from Fond du Lac to Silver Spring with a crash on the left behind the barricades. Southbound heavy from Good Hope to Silver Spring with drivers taking a look. Then backed up from Burleigh through the Marquette most of the way to the KK River. I'm Mike Priest, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by First Choice Heating and Cooling. Prices are up, but your comfort doesn't have to wait. At First Choice Heating and Cooling, pay $0 now and 0 interest for 12 months. Lock in today's price and stay cool all summer. Milwaukee's heat's no joke. Call First Choice now.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
Lenovo and the iHeartRadio Music Festival. Tech that hits different. Can your gear keep up with the beat? Lenovo PCs are built for creators, dreamers, and fans who don't hit pause. Visit Lenovo.com for the latest in AI PCs and game-changing tech.
Bob from Redefined Realty here. I'd written my own ads for 20 years.
Creative genius. Here. Same. Well, Inet's ads and 100 other businesses' ads.
Writing your own ads, you kind of get stuck repeating the same message. Different words, but the same perspective.
Before introducing Easy Home Bidder, Bob came to Inet to brand his brainchild, MLS Listing Backed by Auction. It's brilliant. MLS guarantees the home is found. Auction guarantees the highest sale price. Period.
Inet branded it, wrote our story, knocked our marketing out of the park. When you think of selling your home, you know MLS and auction together is the right choice.
Redefined also benefits from unparalleled radio buying power, industry influence, and extracurricular enhancement of being part of the Inet community. More than 1,000 businesses working together for each other's successes.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. Inet is improving the economy one business at a time.
InetDishWeb.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Buyers, sellers, real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at TriCountyContractingWI.com.
Get back to the ballpark for Brewers action against the Marlins July 25th through the 27th. Second half of the season kicks off with